You still believe that defending yourself makes you look innocent. You still think clarity restores balance. You still assume that if people just understood you, they would back off. That belief is exactly why you lose power the moment you're challenged. Because the instant you explain, justify, or correct, something irreversible happens. You step down, and someone else steps up. Not because they are smarter, not because they are right, because you accepted the role they offered you, the role of the accused. Most people never notice this transition. They only feel it after. They wonder why the room got colder, why the conversation suddenly felt like an interrogation, why the tone changed. They think it was the accusation that damaged them. It wasn't. It was the reflex to defend. Machiavelli understood this before modern language gave it a name. He understood that power is not a moral reward for honesty. Power is a structure. And structures don't care what you meant. They care what you signaled. This is not about becoming cruel. This is about not living like prey. This is about learning the one move that makes aggressors lose their footing, instantly. The world you're acting in. Most people are not listening to understand you. They are watching to evaluate you. They don't measure truth first. They measure composure. They measure status. They measure whether you flinch. This is why the most dangerous attack is rarely loud. It is subtle. A comment that implies you are incompetent. A question that implies you are dishonest. A joke that implies you are lesser. A calm accusation delivered with a smile. It is designed to provoke a defense, because defense is the fastest way to pull you beneath them. The world teaches you that explaining is maturity, that clarification is strength, that innocence is something you can prove if you just speak clearly enough. But in power dynamics, speaking more is often the same as bleeding more. You are giving them information, emotion, urgency, and permission. Power is not decided by who is right. It is decided by who remains unmoved. And once you see that, you start playing a different game. Law 1. The moment you defend, you descend. When someone confronts you, accuses you, or questions your intent, there is a fraction of a second where power is undecided. Most people fill that silence with explanation. I didn't mean it like that. You misunderstood. That's not who I am. And it is the exact moment authority leaves your hands. Because defense is not neutral. Defense is a confession of hierarchy. It says without words that they are the judge and you are the one being judged. It does not matter how polite your tone is. It does not matter how true your explanation is. The structure is set the second you accept the courtroom. Notice what happens in real life. A coworker says, "That was unprofessional." Your pulse rises. You explain your intent. The room doesn't hear your intent. The room hears urgency. They hear that you are eager to be cleared. They hear that reputation is a leash you cannot remove. And anything you cannot lose becomes the handle they can grab. This is why powerful people do not rush to prove innocence. They do not compete for being understood. They compete for being unshakable. They let the accusation hang long enough for everyone to taste its weight. Then, they decide what response preserves position, not what response feels fair. Behavioral shift is simple. When accused, do not answer the accusation first. Answer the frame. If the frame is disrespectful, you do not reward it with effort. If the frame is manipulative, you do not feed it with emotion. Your first job is not clarity. Your first job is placement. Power implication is brutal. The person who defends is already lowering themselves. The person who refuses to defend forces the attacker to justify the attack. Law 2. Frames decide winners, not facts. The moment you defend yourself, you accept their frame. Their accusation becomes the center of gravity. Their interpretation becomes the battlefield. Their emotional tone becomes the rhythm you now follow. Even if you are correct, you now look guilty. Because the mind reads effort as weakness in status games. When someone is truly above an accusation, they do not scramble. When someone is truly secure, they do not over-explain. Over-explaining is not proof. It is anxiety disguised as logic. Picture a public moment. Someone says, "You always make everything about you." If you respond with a long explanation, you have already reinforced the claim. You are demonstrating that their opinion has power over your nervous system. The room does not analyze your points. The room watches your posture, your pace, your need. The frame is the invisible rule of the scene. It decides who is reacting and who is directing. It decides who is performing and who is evaluating. And once the frame is set, facts become decoration. The Machiavellian shift is to stop arguing facts inside someone else's frame. You either refuse the frame or you flip it. You do not accept the primal that they are the authority. You do not accept the premise that you owe them a trial. This is why short responses are so powerful. Not because they are clever, because they do not grant the attacker a stage. They do not validate the premise that your worth is up for debate. Power implication is simple. Whoever controls the frame controls the room. And whoever controls the room controls the outcome. Law 3. Silence is not weakness, it is displacement. When you do not react, something unsettling happens to the other person. The energy they threw has nowhere to land. Silence forces them to carry their own aggression. Their certainty starts to decay. They begin to question their delivery, their tone, their judgment. The room stops watching the accusation. Silence is not absence. Silence is pressure. It creates a vacuum. And the human mind cannot tolerate a vacuum. People will fill it. They will fill it with guesses. They will fill it with fear. They will fill it with projected meaning. And most of the time, that projection benefits the person who is calm. This is the key. You are not using silence to appear passive. You are using silence to displace responsibility. You are making the attacker own the tension they created. You are making them feel their own aggression reflected back at them. In practice, it looks like this. Someone accuses you. You pause. You do not rush. You hold your face neutral. You do not smile to appease. You do not frown to fight. You simply remain still. That stillness becomes a message the room understands instinctively. You are not in danger. You are not pleading. You are not moving down. Then something happens to the attacker. They start talking more. They start explaining themselves. They start justifying why they said what they said. They start sounding emotional. And once they sound emotional, the audience stops trusting their judgment. Behavioral shift is to treat silence like a blade, not a void. 2 seconds can be a weapon. 3 seconds can end a dynamic. You are not avoiding. You are placing. Power implication is severe. The person who stays calm becomes the standard. The person who becomes reactive becomes the suspect. Law 4. Make the accusation reflect back. Sometimes silence alone is enough. Sometimes you go colder. Instead of denying the accusation, you allow it to exist without resistance. You're arrogant. Then calmly, if that's how you see it, no defense, no explanation, no emotional weight. This is not agreement. This is distance. You are stepping out of the emotional arena they tried to trap you in. You are refusing to wrestle in their mud. The reason this works is because most attacks are fueled by expectation. The attacker expects resistance. They expect a fight. They expect you to chase their approval. When you deny them that, they lose the only thing they came for: control of your reaction. And now they have a problem. If they escalate, they look obsessed. If they repeat the accusation, they look insecure. If they demand a response, they look needy. If they walk away, they look like they failed to land the hit. This is the reversal. You didn't prove you were innocent. You made them look unstable for needing you to prove it. You can also mirror the emotional tone without defending. Someone says, "You're manipulative." You look at them, calm, and you say, "Interesting." Nothing more. That one word is a trap door. It forces them to either explain or retreat. Either way, you did not move down. Behavioral shift is to answer attacks with composure and distance, not detail and emotion. The goal is not to win the argument. The goal is to make the attack expensive. Power implication is that you can turn accusations into evidence of the attacker's instability without ever saying it directly. Law 5. Public settings amplify stillness. In social environments, this tactic multiplies in strength. Someone makes a remark and all eyes turn to you. This is the test. Most people rush to soften the blow. They laugh, they explain, they overcorrect. And in doing so, they confirm the strike landed. The Machiavellian response is simpler. You pause. 2 seconds. You let the room feel the silence. You scan the group slowly, as if the comment wasn't important enough to move you. Then, if you speak with precision. You seem emotional today. Not as a joke, not as a fight. As a diagnosis delivered without effort. In public, the audience decides who holds status. And the audience is not logical. They are sensory. They watch who is calm and who is shaken. They watch who controls their face. They watch who controls time. This is why the pause is critical. Without the pause, your response looks reactive. With the pause, your response looks chosen. And chosen behavior reads as higher status. There is another move in public settings. You don't respond to the attacker at all. You respond to the room. You change the energy. You shift the topic. You deny the attacker the center. That is the deepest disrespect. Not anger, not insult, erasure. Behavioral shift is to remember that public attacks are never about truth. They are about positioning in front of witnesses. Your job is to remain the one person who is not performing. Power implication is that the attacker becomes entertainment, while you become gravity. Law 6. Professional power is won by withholding reaction. In business, hierarchy is revealed in moments of pressure. Someone questions your plan in a meeting and expects justification. Most people lean forward and explain. They rush. They over-detail. They try to prove competence. The room senses it immediately. The Machiavellian leans back. They wait. They let the questions sit. They let the room hear the silence. Then they redirect. Let's hear your alternative. Now the burden shifts. Now the critic must perform. Now the one who attacked must create. This is where most underminers collapse. Because they were not offering improvement. They were testing whether they could move you. In professional settings, the most common predator is not the loud tyrant. It's the calm underminer. The person who plants doubt while looking reasonable. I'm not sure this is thought through. I just have concerns. I'm only asking questions. They do it because questions force you into defense. Refuse that. You do not explain under their timing. You do not prove under their frame. You can answer later, in writing, with control. You can answer privately, with boundaries. But in the public room, you protect position first. Behavioral shift is to control rhythm. Slow down. Pause. Speak less. Use redirects. Ask for specifics. What exactly is your concern? Then wait again. The more they talk, the more they reveal whether they are strategic or insecure. Power implication is that your composure becomes your authority. People will follow the one who controls tempo. Moral ambiguity. Good intentions do not protect you. They never have. Ethics without strategy are fragile and collapse under pressure. Strategy without ethics is dangerous and becomes predation. Intelligence is the bridge. This is not about humiliating others. This is about not being exploited by people who already understand these dynamics. Awareness is not immorality. Awareness is clarity. You cannot choose ethics intelligently if you do not see how the game works. The goal is not dominance. The goal is sovereignty. There is a difference between being kind and being manageable. There is a difference between being patient and being trainable. If you do not learn how power actually moves, you will keep mistaking manipulation for communication. Law 7. Withdrawal is a weapon most people cannot survive. There is a colder maneuver still, disappearance. Someone insults you and you do not reply. You do not acknowledge. You remove yourself entirely. No response, no closure. This devastates people who feed on reaction. Because many people do not attack to be right. They attack to be felt. They attack to pull you into their emotional weather. They attack to make you orbit them. Withdrawal breaks that. It starves the mechanism. This is where most people fail. They think ignoring is weak because they were taught to stand up for yourself. But standing up is not always speaking. Sometimes standing up is refusing to participate in a rigged exchange. When you disappear, the attacker loses their mirror. They start escalating. They start posting. They start telling stories. They start recruiting others. They start revealing obsession. And obsession is always lower status than indifference. You are not running. You are removing access. And access is the true currency of power. Behavioral shift is to know when the game is not worth playing. Some people cannot be corrected. They can only be deprived. Power implication is that your absence becomes a verdict. It tells them they are not worth your energy. Law 8. Never pursue innocence. The world teaches you to protect your reputation. The moment you chase innocence, you imply guilt. The true strategist never tries to appear good. They appear unshakable. This is the final illusion to destroy. You think you need a good reputation to be safe. You don't. You need a strong one. A reputation that makes people cautious. A good reputation is a trap because it comes with expectations. People expect you to be agreeable. People expect you to be patient. People expect you to explain. People expect you to absorb disrespect gracefully. And the moment you resist, they punish you for breaking the image they assigned you. A strong reputation is different. It is not always liked, but it is respected. It carries weight. People do not casually accuse someone with weight, because weight changes the cost of conflict. The move is to stop proving you are innocent and start behaving like someone who does not need to prove anything. Speak less. Move slower. Do not overcorrect. Do not chase being understood by people who benefit from misunderstanding you. Behavioral shift is to let misunderstandings exist when correcting them would lower your status. Not every accusation deserves contact. Not every narrative deserves your oxygen. Power implication is that when you stop chasing innocence, you stop being led by other people's judgment. Digital arenas. Online, this dynamic accelerates. Someone labels you toxic, manipulative, problematic. Most people panic and explain. That panic is what the crowd punishes. The Machiavellian does not explain. They reframe. They deny the attacker the satisfaction of seeing them scramble. People call you dangerous when they can't control you. Then silence again. You do not debate in the comments. You do not perform innocence for strangers. You do not beg a mob to be fair. You let the accusation sit under your composure until the accuser looks like the only emotional one left. If you must respond, you respond with one of three tools: silence, deflection, a shortcut of truth that ends the exchange. You are full of yourself. Confidence disturbs the insecure. You are fake. I don't owe you authenticity. You think you're better than everyone. No, I just don't think like everyone. These are not defenses. They are status statements. They do one thing. They refuse the trial. You don't need a clean reputation to hold power. You need a strong one. Clean reputations are expected to be agreeable. Strong reputations are approached carefully. This is what changes when you stop defending yourself. Others begin to defend you without being asked. They say the attack was unnecessary. They question the aggressor's tone. They protect your position while you remain above the noise. That is leverage. That is social gravity. Power does not come from proving yourself. It comes from refusing the trial entirely. When you no longer explain, your presence becomes the explanation. When you no longer scramble, people start to assume you know something they don't. They start to treat you as heavier than their opinion. And this is the reversal. The instant you stop defending, the attacker must defend why they attacked. The moment you stop pleading to be understood, others feel the impulse to interpret you as powerful. Not because you begged for it, because you behave like someone who cannot be moved. The most dangerous person in the room is not the loudest. It is the one who never needs to defend themselves.